So I ended up in my house, you know, invited a few friends, and again, for those of you who have ever been on a coke night or a drug night or a drinking night or anything that got pretty severe and it was all about the party, they tend to end up going to a lot of places. You go from one house to another house, back to the same house, and it's like you're always chasing something. You're always like, what's next? And you get there, and then all you do is do the same thing and sit around the table doing rails and just talking with people. And it was fun, right? It was fun back in the day. At least I told myself that. And I was so ashamed, though. You sit there with the blinds drawn, and you go out and you feel so sketchy, and everybody's looking at you, and like in that very safe zone, it's fun. But in reality, the whole world is, it's huge, and you're confined to this one little area, the living room. Sometimes you can't even go to another room, and it was really tough. And that day, we got off work the Friday night. I was on vacation, partied till Saturday at midnight. So it was a good 36-hour party, whatever, and I fell asleep with a straw in my hand. Woke up Sunday, and the Grey Cup was on that day, and I couldn't do anything about it. I was still so messed up from the hangover and the drugs and whatnot. And oops. And I decided to have one beer to calm me down. And I drank that beer, and that was it. There's more beers in the fridge and everything from the night before, but that was it. I just couldn't handle it anymore. I think I ended up sleeping half the Grey Cup. I didn't really watch it and stuff, and I was getting pretty into football at that time. And then the following Monday, I made a phone call to my addictions foundation in my city and made an appointment. And from that day on, I never used drugs and alcohol again to this day, which is a little over 3 years now. Now, in this time, in my path from 3 years ago till today, is the main reason why I'm having this. The main reason I want to talk to you guys and get you guys maybe some different outlook or different perception on life. I started doing the 12-step program with Alcoholics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous, and going through rehab and all that. And the big process is kind of what I want to start taking you guys through. Not the 12-step process, but my experience process was it all started with honesty. When I first went in, when I first started understanding who I was, it all started happening when I understood there's thoughts and then there's reality. Now, what does that mean? Well, the secrets come out, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen that, and maybe some of you guys have heard of Tony Robbins, and maybe Christopher Howard or Ryan Tracy, or some of these big names. But all these people definitely preach a similar message, and the message isn't I don't think it's said enough. A lot of the times people start focusing on success and money and all that type of stuff. Like that's the key, and I think that's money is important, right? Everybody needs that for that freedom they want in life. That freedom to fly to Cancun if they want one day, and whatever. But without going down the road of money, let's stick here. Back to the honesty. There's thoughts and reality. I'll give you an example. I was going to meetings, to 12-step meetings and stuff, and thoughts would come in my head, and I had no control over these thoughts. I had no control, and that was something that I never understood. I always thought I was stupid because I had these thoughts come in my head, or the fact I had lack of thoughts coming in my head, the lack of proper choices. And anyways, in going through these meetings, I would have thoughts of using, like I'm going to 12-step meetings and spending time and learning about myself and stuff like that, and I wanted to do drugs. So I'd have thoughts that I can maybe live my life and have a couple of beers and still go to these meetings and everything's going to be okay, because I was starting to figure out who I was. Now, if you think about that, I beat myself up for years and years and years and proclaimed myself to never do this again and stuff. And because I had a couple of months, maybe a few days, I don't remember how sober I was at the time, but have a few days or a few months or whatever, that my mind was telling me it was okay to do this because I had this support now. thank God I was getting an understanding of who I was, and I had that ability to be honest with who I was, because those thoughts I would have before would run me. Um, the idea here is the thoughts that I'm having, I do have no control over them. All I have is that awareness. All I have is that consciousness, to decipher which thought is proper and which thought isn't proper. It goes down to the devil and the angel on your shoulder. We all have that voice in our head that prevents us from doing a lot of things, or pushes us to do a lot of things that we don't want to be doing. A lot of people describe it as the ego. It's a tough challenge to get through, and I still battle with it some days, But the best part about it is that I'm aware of it now, and I have that capacity to be honest. I remember going for a car ride with my buddy one day, and we were just pulling out of my street, and I was looking to my left to see if any cars are coming in, and all of a sudden, bang! My buddy yells, "Oh my God, bang!" And biker comes up, rolls up to the top of my car, falls down, and I sat there, froze, and I was in fear. I was like, "Oh my God, this guy's gonna beat the shit out of me." My buddy is already out the door, checking on him just to make sure he's all right. But that's the kind of guy I was. I was just crippled with fear. I had so much fear in me. The idea, I was going through all this stuff, and I was taught, and I sat there, white knuckling the steering wheel for a little bit, being so self-absorbed and so paralyzed in fear that I couldn't get out. But eventually I caught myself. I wasn't there for 3, 4, 5 minutes, sitting there waiting to see. It was about 5, 10 seconds. Thoughts go in my head. I realized that they weren't real. I realized that I just hit a kid. I didn't know it was a kid at the time, but I just hit this kid, and he's on the sidewalk, and he may be dead. Who knows? I ran outside, checked on him, and he ended up being okay. His leg was a bit sore, and he ended up going away fine. I checked up on him a couple days later, and he was okay. And thank God. The point of that story isn't to go and hit kids and understand who you are, but the point of that story was, it's okay. Bottom line, what I'm trying to get across here is those thoughts that go in our heads, those things that make us do things we don't want to do, or cripple us, or paralyze us, or... One sec.